Hello everyone, welcome to the I Watch Horror podcast. As always, I am your host Matt, and this week we've got news on a new Addams Family animated film, a live-action Scooby-Doo series, and the return of Scary Movie. To end the show, I will go over my top 5 favorite horror films of 1997. Let's get to it. Franchise crossovers are a delicate thing. It's easy to get it wrong, and we've certainly seen our share of missteps over the years. But sometimes, when the planets align and the stars of the show are all on the same page, the idea just clicks. That seems to be the case with the cast of Alien Earth. The series, which expands on the universe we know so well, has a cast that's been thinking about where things could go. And where they think they could go is straight into a collision with the Predator franchise. The actors have been talking about how their individual characters would react to such an encounter. Babu Sise, who plays the hardened security specialist Morrow, believes his character would welcome the challenge. He's already dealt with some of the deadliest organisms in the universe, why not a new one? For Morrow, the Predator might just be another fascinating obstacle to overcome. Sam Blinken, who embodies the tech mogul Boy Cavalier, has a different take. He says his character would be so wrapped in the intellectual curiosity of it all, he'd calmly introduce himself. This isn't just about a monster hunt for Boy Cavalier. It's about a new species, a new dataset, a new opportunity for his corporation to get its hands on something extraordinary. Of course, none of this is official, but the sentiment from the actors is a hopeful sign, and it aligns with what we've been hearing from the Predator camp. Director Dan Trachtenberg, coming off the success of Prey, has already talked about the possibility of bringing these two cinematic worlds closer together. It's a testament to the enduring power of these two franchises that after all of this time, the conversation is still happening. And now, with new blood in the Alien universe, the excitement around a potential crossover is even more palpable. You have to hand it to Zach Cregger. He's proving to be one of the most interesting new voices in horror, and he's doing it in a very specific way. His new film Weapons just opened at number 1 at the box office, bringing in an estimated $42.5 million domestically, and a stunning $70 million globally. What makes this especially noteworthy is that this is an original film. The fact that it was able to open so strongly, even against a high-profile Disney release like Freakier Friday, speaks volumes. It's an anomaly in a landscape dominated by sequels and established franchises. This also marks the second straight hit for Cregger, following the success of his 2022 film Barbarian. With Weapons, Cregger solidifies his position as a director who can not only deliver a unique vision, but also command a significant box office presence. The success of Weapons is perfectly timed, as Cregger is now set to direct a reboot of the Evil Dead franchise for Sony Pictures. Cregger's take on the classic video game series is reported to be a return to the horror roots of the games, and he stated that he intends to tell an original story rather than readapting the lore. This kind of creative freedom is something that he's clearly earned, and it will be fascinating to see how his sensibilities translate to such a well-known property. In related news, a potential prequel to Weapons may soon be in the works. Sources at New Line Cinema and parent company Warner Brothers are reportedly keen to build out the world created by director Zach Cregger. The idea is to delve into the past of one of the film's most memorable characters, Aunt Gladys. The role, played by the formidable Amy Magden, left audiences with a lot of questions about her history and how she came to be. Cregger has confirmed he has more ideas for the Weapons universe, but a prequel would have to wait. The filmmaker is currently immersed in other projects, including the previously mentioned Resident Evil reboot and an original sci-fi film titled Flood. So while the demand is there and the ideas exist, it may be some time before we get to see the origins of Aunt Gladys and the dark magic she wields. There's something about a successful reboot that makes creators want to create more. But what happens when you're dealing with a world that's been rebooted and reimagined so many times already? We're talking, of course, about the Addams Family. The hit Netflix show Wednesday brought a new generation to the Morbid family, and now the show's creators are doubling down on the Addams-verse. They are developing a new animated feature film which will be released through Amazon MGM. The twist here is that this new movie will be a complete reboot of the animated franchise. It will have no connection to the previous 2 animated movies or to their own Netflix series. Separately at Netflix, a spin-off is in development that will focus on Fred Armisen's portrayal of Uncle Fester from the live-action series. It's a bit of a strange family dynamic, with two projects from the same creators, but operating in two completely separate universes. The macabre and the mysterious, it seems, can get a little messy. For years now, A24 has been synonymous with a certain brand of horror, elevated, atmospheric, a bit of a slow burn, but with a lingering sense of dread that sticks with you. So when they get into a bidding war over a new film, it's worth taking notice. Their latest acquisition is a movie called The Undertone, a debut feature from director Ian Towson. The word is that A24 won the rights in a competitive mid-seven-figure deal, which is pretty significant for a first-time filmmaker. The film stars Nina Kiri as a paranormal podcast host who is drawn into a chilling mystery. The plot centers on her character's return to her childhood home to care for her dying mother. And while there, she receives a series of strange audio recordings, each one pulling her deeper into a supernatural puzzle that seems to mirror her own life. Reviews out of the Fantasia Film Festival have described it as a slow-burn nightmare, with a meticulous sound design that forces you to lean in and listen, even as your skin starts to crawl. The production itself is a collaboration between Slaterverse Pictures, Black Fawn Films, and Kino Studios. And it's being noted that this project is the first of a multi-film deal between Black Fawn and Kino, which could be an exciting development for Canadian genre cinema. It's a reminder of how even in a world of big-budget franchises, a quiet, creepy idea can still command attention. The new Buffy series on Hulu has been a topic of conversation for a while now, and we're getting more and more details as the pieces come together. The latest news is that Chase Saway Wonders is joining the cast in a guest role as a character named Shirley. The buzz around this one has been particularly strong because of the names attached. Oscar-winning director Chloe Gao is bringing her unique visual style to the project, and of course the return of Sarah Michelle Gellar is a big deal, as she's set to reprise her iconic role as Buffy Summers alongside a new Slayer, Ryan Kira Armstrong. Wonders, a rising star, has already made a name for herself in projects like the horror comedy Bodies, 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 and of course the recent I Know What You Did Last Summer film. Her addition, even in a guest role, shows a clear effort to build a strong, talented ensemble around the legacy characters. While we don't have a release date yet, Nora and Lila Zuckerman are on board as showrunners, and with the talent in front of and behind the camera, the excitement is building for what this new generation of Slayers will bring to the small screen. Coming up this October, Fathom Entertainment and Lionsgate are giving us a chance to revisit the grime and grit of Rob Zombie's 2005 opus, The Devil's Rejects. In a special 20th anniversary event, the film will be returning to theaters nationwide. This isn't just a standard re-release, the film has been remastered in 4K, bringing the bloody gore fest to the big screen with more visceral detail than ever before. But beyond the technical upgrade, the screenings will also feature a new exclusive introduction from the director himself, Rob Zombie, where he reflects on the film's legacy and impact since its release. The theatrical run is limited to just 2 nights, Monday, October 6th and Wednesday, October 8th. Tickets for this cinematic event will be available for purchase on August 22nd. Netflix is reportedly moving forward with a live-action Scooby-Doo series, and from the sounds of it, this won't be the campy comedic version that many of us grew up with. The buzz suggests the new show will be aiming for a tone that's a bit more unsettling, taking a page from the playbook of another hugely popular Netflix series, Stranger Things. The new incarnation of Mystery Inc. will reportedly feature younger actors, with the casting search focusing on talent in the 14 to 17-year-old range for Fred, Daphne, Shaggy, Velma, and of course Scooby. Production is tentatively scheduled to get underway in the first part of 2026. Behind the scenes, the series has some serious genre veterans attached, with Josh Applebaum and Scott Rosenberg set as showrunners. Can this new, darker take on the classic Mystery Gang capture the spirit of what made them great, while also carving out its own space? We'll have to wait and see what they unmask. In 2013, the zombie film World War Z came out in theaters. It was a big hit, pulling in over $500 million at the worldwide box office. A sequel seemed like a sure thing. In fact, a trilogy was planned, but for years the project stalled. It went through different directors, different scripts, and budget problems until it was finally officially canceled in 2019. Now though, there are signs that the franchise might be undead. Following a major merger between Paramount and Skydance, the new co-film chief, Josh Greenstein, is reportedly prioritizing the property alongside major franchises like Star Trek and Top Gun. After over a decade of silence, the Scary Movie franchise is coming back. We have confirmation that the Wayans brothers, the creative team behind the first 2 films, are returning to produce the next installment. This news is particularly exciting because it also means the return of Anna Faris and Regina Hall, who will be reprising their roles as Cindy Campbell and Brenda Meeks. The new film is set to hit theaters on June 12, 2026 from Paramount and Miramax. There are a lot of questions about what form this new parody will take. The original films, which skewered the late 90s slasher craze with titles like Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer, had a very specific target. The horror landscape has changed so much since then, becoming more cerebral, more focused on social commentary, and in some cases, more meta. But one detail has been confirmed: Ghostface is making a comeback. That suggests the new film will take aim at the latest installments of the Scream franchise, as well as the larger legacy sequel trend. So while the plot remains a mystery, it seems a safe bet that we can expect a new wave of jabs at modern horror from people who essentially wrote the book on horror parody. And that's it for the news. Links to all of my sources will be included in the show notes. This week we have 3 films hitting theaters and a couple of video-on-demand releases. First up, Hell House LLC Lineage. And the synopsis reads: haunted by visions and recurring nightmares years after a near-death experience, Vanessa Shepard finds herself living in the town of Abaddon, unable to break free of its unexplainable hold on her. When people around her suddenly begin to die, she soon uncovers her terrifying connection to the Abaddon Hotel, the Carmichael Manor, and the mysterious murders that have been occurring for decades. Next up, We're Not Safe Here. The synopsis reads: after vanishing, a woman returns with a chilling tale. Now she and her friend are haunted by a dark force that twists fear into reality. Lily lives alone. And the synopsis reads: after the death of her child, Lily runs away to hide in a lonely corner of her small town. Living alone, she struggles to cope with the traumatic memories of her own upbringing. 10 years after her daughter's death, the fabric of Lily's world is tearing apart. The ghosts of her past are waking up, and tonight she must face the depths of her manic madness and a haunting she won't soon forget. And that's it for movies in theaters. Let's move on to video on demand. House of Eden, and the synopsis reads: paranormal investigators Chris, Selena, and their videographer Jay expect the usual scares when they set out on their latest case. But after being mysteriously rerouted to an abandoned house deep in the woods, they find themselves facing a force unlike anything they've encountered before. As the night spirals into chaos, missing crew members and eerie phenomena hint at an ancient, malevolent presence watching their every move. And to close things out for video on demand, we have Whisper of the Witch. And the synopsis reads: Mira, an ancient pagan spirit, haunts a group of teenagers, taking their body parts to be reborn. A disillusioned and desperate investigator has to face his deepest fears to save the teenagers. For this week's top 5, I thought I would do something a little random. So let's go over my top 5 favorite horror films of 1997. Number 5, The Devil's Advocate. I remember being skeptical when I first watched this, but it was pretty good. I like to think of this as Keanu Reeves' warm-up to The Matrix. It makes it a lot more fun. Number 4, Scream 2. It was always going to be tough to follow up Scream, but Scream 2 has its moments and it's grown on me over the years. Number 3, Event Horizon. I am also a big science fiction fan in addition to horror, of course, and anytime those two genres come together, I get excited. Event Horizon walks the line between sci-fi and horror perfectly. If you've not seen it, highly recommend. Number 2, Cube. I thought Cube had such a cool premise when I first watched it. I was hooked from the get-go, and I've rewatched it several times over the years. Number 1, I Know What You Did Last Summer. Of course I'd pick a slasher, right? I Know What You Did Last Summer came out on the heels of Scream, and while it doesn't quite hit the same heights as Scream, it's still a classic in its own right. Thank you all so much for spending a few minutes with me today. If you have a moment, please like, subscribe, comment, rate, review, share, all of those things. I know it's annoying to hear that, but it really does help. Another great way to support us is by visiting the I Watch Horror shop. We've got some fun horror-themed t-shirts with new ones on the way soon. Visit at shop.iwatchhorror.com. We are on Instagram, we are on X, Threads. The handle for all three is I_watch_horror. We are also on YouTube. All of these links will be in the show notes. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Until next time, take care.